Welcome to another episode of The Minority Voice. I'm your host, Jeff Vega, and it's Friday, and I know for a lot of you, you're looking forward to the weekend. With me, I work 7 days a week. I enjoy life, so yeah, I don't get any time off, but I'm enjoying life. Today, what I'd like to do is I want to talk to you about some words, some terminologies that we use that we really need to begin to rethink this, because I think because of the way they use words now, they mislead us and get us distracted. So I think if we can begin to look at words and not get caught up into them, because that's how they trick you, and that's how you end up stumbling, because they go into conversations and debates with these words. And one of the words I want to use start off with is you've heard the term mainstream media. Well, what we need to do, and I think Donald Trump did it, but I think he might have been a little bit overboard. He called them the lying media and fake news. But you know what? Because as you've seen, and if you follow any of it, you realize they are fake and they are lying, of course. And they're doing the bidding of big government and corporations now. And so I think, when you address those companies, why not call them big media or corporate media? And though I do like what Governor DeSantis out of California, he calls them smear merchants. So in your vocabulary, change it to that when you think of mainstream media. And another thing that they're using now is the word gender. Okay, well, when you hear that word, you need to clarify it and say, you mean sex, okay? Because the reality is there's only two, male and female. And when you let them use the word gender, that opens up a myriad of potential definitions. So, focus on the word, and that is sex. And, when you look at that too, they talk about sex reassignment. That's where they do the what do you call it, Dave?
Changing
Yeah.
the gender?
Yeah.
The sex?
Yeah. The reality is you cannot reassign your sex. Whatever you're born with, that's what you are. Now, if you choose to think of yourself something else, well, okay, that's on you. But at the end of the day, you're still of that same sex. And another one that I think, and we're all guilty of this, is you say democracy. You know what? We're not in a democracy, okay? What we're in is a republic, a constitutional republic. And that's something that's very important, because in democracy, the majority rules. And you heard the saying, two wolves and a sheep got together and they talked about dinner. So, the wolves voted to have the lamb for dinner, okay? And that's democracy. That's why we're not a democracy. We're a republic. And another one, and this just sits into the culture real deep, we need to start calling these abortion doctors and abortion clinics, okay? These doctors, they are killing babies. These clinics are killing babies. That's bottom line. And when you really look at the oath of a doctor is, and they call it the hypocritical oath, they make an oath to preserve and save lives. Now, how is killing a baby in the womb saving lives? So, in the future, call them abortion doctors and abortion clinics. And then another one that hits home, and right now we're experiencing it down on the border, and that's undocumented immigrants. My friends, put aside the tragedy that's happening, because and I spoke on this before. I think it's a tragedy on how these kids are being manipulated and used, and some of the and I would even the young ladies, they're getting raped, molested along the way, and I wouldn't doubt if little young boys are the same way. But the reality is, we are a nation of laws, and you come across the border illegally, you're an illegal immigrant. Okay, and it's not meant to belittle or shame or anything else, but the reality is that's what it is. And I'm not anti-Mexican because I am Mexican. Okay, so let's get that straight. Okay, so, and I'm not anti-immigrant, but I am anti-illegal. And I think most Americans are the same way. And I will point out, because I think they want to use that as a tool to divide us, but I digress. That's another word. And then another one that's really playing a role right now is equity and equality. Now, you can get those words mixed up, okay? And, as a nation, we believe in equality. Everybody has an equal opportunity. And equity is a Marcus thing where they look at you, if you got $1 and I got no dollars, then you should give me half of what you have to make it even. Well, with the equity. But the reality is, we all have an equal opportunity to succeed in life. Now, grant you, some start out at a different spot in life, or position, if you will, and I would say to you, a lot of that has to do with generational things. I think most people that raise families, they want to do better for their children. And as generation goes by, if you do better for your children and you do better than your parents, of course it trickles down, if you will. So anyways, that's another word that you want to look at, okay? And then they come up with this word now too. It's called cisgender. You ever hear of that, Dave? Okay. All right. So cisgender it's invented as the opposite of transgender. So basically, cisgender is a man and a female is a female. Now, why they come up with that, I don't know. So, you know what? You hear that, say, hey, man, that ain't even a word. That's just something somebody decided to make up and threw it in the Oxford Dictionary. So, and then the last one, and that goes along with the abortion doctors, pro-choice. No, my friends, Planned Parenthood come up with that term, pro-choice. No. What it is, what you are pro-abortion. Because I guarantee you, if you were to ask that baby in the womb if he wanted to be aborted, 100% would come out and say, no, I want to live. Okay, so that would be their choice. So, keep that in mind. You know what? Don't say pro-choice. Term them as pro-abortionists. Okay, that's what they are. That's the reality. And there's one more I want to add, and we'll close it on this, is our education system is nothing more now than indoctrination. And, with this, what is it? Help me out, Dave. What are they teaching in schools now? I always forget. Well, that's one thing that's, but critical race theory, okay, and that's, and what has happened now, well, now that David mentioned Common Core, that's the math, critical race theory is out there, the 1619 Project, so these are things that these new movements are putting in, and basically, it's no longer a public education. what it is government education. So use those words as I mentioned to you today in your communicating with people, so we can all be on the same page, because we live in the greatest country ever known to man. And in order to preserve it, we have to step up and get into the battle and make sure that our voices are heard. And until we meet again, Joshua 24:15.